A couple of things have helped so far. I think as a starting point, really just acknowledging and finding a way to accept and be compassionate with myself about that there are days or moments when I'm not going to be coping well and that it's okay. Taking a step back and really putting what coping with social distancing really is about, and that it's about coping with change and kind of tapping into the tools that I have at my disposal of how I've dealt with change in the past and what can I leverage from that really to deal with this very quickly changing new reality. Some days are hard, some days are better than others, so noticing the waves as they come up and being kind with myself through it. The other half really just kind of getting some sense of gratitude about the time and the opportunities that I have to connect with people that I wouldn't otherwise have been able to connect with, because people just have more time and are able to make time for the connection, because that is what's most important in the end. So being able to see that the physical separation is not really the same as emotional separation. There's obviously constraints that come with the physical separation, but just being able to focus on the parts that I get to have with this new reality, and being kind to myself for the things that I don't get to have in the days that I'm struggling through it is probably the best way for coping for me. Yeah. Some days it's hard to find calm, very honestly. But I also feel that it's important to remind myself that I have taken a lot of time in my life to build practices and to build tools and make them part of my everyday that have helped me cope with uncertainty and have found ways to center myself and to ground myself in previous instances of chaos or change. And recognizing that, yes, this is on a different scale and it's changing very quickly, and which makes it harder to adjust because our processing time to adapt to a change is shorter. But we have those tools. We have we have built those tools. We have something that's available to us, and we can use that to our disposal. So it's really just finding ways to remember that and using them as best as I can. As a starting point, I would say practicing self-compassion. We are all collectively and individually adjusting to a very big change, and we have to be gentle with ourselves through it. We have to recognize that it's a process, and it will take time. The other thing I would say is know that you have taken time in your life to work on things and to build tools for yourself. So remember that you have those at your disposal, such as yoga, whether it's breathing, whether it's going for walks, whether it's other types of working out, whether it's art, whether it's writing, whatever is your medium of expression, whether it's your medium of finding groundedness and centering yourself. You have those at your disposal. You have worked through those. Use them. If you are fortunate enough to have an animal around, smush them. They're great. They're great cuddlers if they're cuddly. I know some cats are not. But those would be my best tips. Oh, find ways to get air, some fresh air if you can. Contained self-walking at appropriate distances. But those would be my tips. I think that we as individuals and a people overall have this rare and almost interesting opportunity to learn about ourselves in a manner and at a pace that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. That's kind of exciting, at least for me, to know that the individual, the person at the other end of this will look different, but will be someone that is grown, will know more about herself. And in some ways, it gives me hope knowing that we have the capacity to do that. We have the capacity to sit with ourselves, to embrace all aspects of ourselves, and be able to observe ourselves at the other end of this and be excited and get to celebrate the individuals that we are. I'm reminded that throughout our histories, human beings have found many ways to thrive and grow from points of different crises. And I'm just excited to know different parts of my friends that I didn't get to know before, because they're discovering them for the first time too. So that's kind of exciting. And I guess the other half of it is that times of big change and big crises and revolutions throughout history have been the birthplace of great art and great music and lots of creativity. We find different ways of expressing things in a joyful way, and I'm excited for all of that creativity, to get to see it, to get to experience it in a manner that I didn't get to do before. So people in general just give me hope. We are so resilient, and I'm excited to see how that goes. All right. How do I breathe when everything feels so hard? Clearly I need to breathe there, right? I do it in two main ways, really. One is, I know that I'm a visual learner, so I know that if I see the word breathe, I will remember to take a moment to pause and have a breath. So when this change happened, I wrote the word itself all over my personal space. It's on my whiteboard, it's on my mirror, it's in notebooks that I use, because I know that's how I respond to cues. And the other is associating breath and centering with different things in my personal space. So my yoga mat and all of the tools that go with the yoga, my meditation space, my altar, they're reminders for me to go within and to take a breath. So it's having it all over my space as a visual reminder, and then having things in my space that remind me of breath, and essentially just training my brain on a repeated basis to respond to that, really. Yeah. So, but yeah, some days it's just hard, and I have to be a little bit more deliberate about reminding myself to take a breath. Yeah.